Hello and welcome to BonkTable. I'm Mass and this is another Conquest Battle Report. Today I am playing Dweghom. So first episode, well not first episode, but first time I played Dweghom in like almost a year is me versus Ven. That would be the previous episode, and this one is me versus Skillen, teaching a new player kind of how to play Spires. Skillen also wanted to learn how to play into Dweghom. I went with whatever Bryans beat me with. That's the list name. I played Bryans in round 5 of Adepticon. Really loved his list. I was like, hey dude, I'm going to get into Dweghom after Adepticon, get myself away from Ash and Dawn. And he was like, yeah, that's great. And then we started talking about Dweghom, and I'm like, dude, I got to play your list because I think it's really awesome. He's like, yeah, go for it. So that's what I'm playing. I have a good idea how it works because I got beaten by it. And then I played it into Ben, who beat me, and now I'm playing it here to see if I've like locked in the idea of the list and kind of how to play it and pull off a Dweghom. Some of the things I really like about Dweghom is that it's not just as straightforward as you think it is. It castles very well. It's the concept of like building a castle on the battlefield where you have a really strong front with really good shooting options behind and your strong frontliners keep the shooting options safe, and you kind of take up like a corner of the table and you move out together, not really like doing big wide flanks and all these other maneuvers to get around. That's what your opponent's going to be doing to you, and if you successfully defend that off, you're castling very well and you'll kind of win out a game. So let's get on with the list. Here we go. Whatever Bryans beat me with. It's Tempered Sorcerer Warlord, so he's got the double cast and all the shit tickets. He's in Magma School riding one Hellbringer Drake, and he has a unit of Fireforge. Then I duplicated that for another Tempered Sorcerer, Fireforge Hellbringer Drake. Then we got Argent Killua in a 5-block of Flame Berserkers with a banner. One Argent Killua is running Memory Breath and Flame Oratory. Memory Breath gives you Aura of Death +1. So all these Flame Berserkers are doing Aura of Death 3. And the Flame Oratory is giving Tenacious to the regiment. Then we got a unit of Hold Ballista, Standard Bearer, Herald of Magma. Herald of Magma just basically gets ignored all the Magma spells that bounce back into your own regiments if you're casting like Eruption. As well as turning any piece of zonal terrain into erupting terrain so you can cast like Pyroclast and other spells off of it. Then we got another Argent Killua, no upgrades, with another unit of 5 Flame Berserkers. So not a ton of stuff, but what it really does well is that you have early fast regiments with the 2 units of Flame Berserkers because they're defense 3, resolve 5. They got 6 attacks each at clash 3. They're 5 wounds with movement 6. Like, this is a really good stat line for a light. Like, this is a medium stat line. Like, resolve 5 on a light is freaking ridiculous to try and get around. Defense 3, you see it on a lot of mediums. 5 wounds is just really good. It keeps you a little, like, alive a little longer from chip damage. 6 attacks is super good. Like, this is a medium stat line on a light. So it's just, this is a phenomenal unit. What really pushes it over is that you have the Rancor spell from the Argent Killua, what allows you to have your leader command stand count as 2 stands for scoring purposes. So the Flame Berserkers can now score because they have 2 stands on the zone. So this really pushes your scoring up, especially because it's fast, because it's running up the table like 13 inches. And you can really set your line of engagement far forward. That helps the Hellbringer Drakes with the 2 Tempered Sorcerers who want to be within 8 inches of these guys. They're going to be running up, kind of huddling together, putting out their 8-inch bubble of shit tickets. Fireforge coming up from the sides, giving support. And Ballista kind of just flexing wherever you need Ballista to be. Overall, really like the list. Bryans played it incredibly well at Adepticon. And I'm starting to like understand his lessons and how he plays as I play this list more. So I'm just gonna slow roll the rules, pause the video at any time, and yeah. How you doing? Alright, there we go. Let's go look at my opponent's Spires list. Here's my opponent's Spires List. They're playing Post-Cataclysm Reconstruction. Pretty sweet name. He's got a Lineage Highborn as the Warlord, so he's got Legacy of the Arts for Cascading Degradation, Command Pheromones, and Pheromantic Overdrive, so he's going to get Aura of Death 4 on the Incarnate Sentinels that this Lineage Highborn is going to be hanging out with. There's 5 of them. He's then going to, give his draw event for, either Clash or March, and then he's going to Entourage into the Incarnate, so he's going to, keep them far back, draw the character, Pheromantic Overdrive for a March action, Entourage into the Regiment, who's then gonna charge and clash and, come from really far away to keep them out of threat. Really good, or maybe do a double clash. We'll find out as the game goes on. I do like Lineage Highborn. It kind of just pushes one regiment to be really, really mean. And I believe one of these increase your resolve by 1. Yeah, there's resolve 5. So they're gonna be resolve 5 basically the entire time. Until they're broken. What's their base resolve? 3. Oh yeah, jeez. Gotta break these guys. Then we got 2 units of Avatar under Superior Creations. Clash 3 is really good, tell you that. Already mentioned the 5 block of Incarnates. And then we got a Siegebreaker Behemoth. This thing is actually surprisingly durable. 16 wounds at Resolve 4 and Defense 4. And Fearless, it's kind of a bit of work you gotta do to kill this damn thing, just because of being a defense 4 monster. 10 attacks at what are Smite, pretty good. Brew Impact 3 is really good. It has a lot going for it. It's kind of like any high defense, no evasion killer. It gets into a fight with my, Hellbringer Drake, and I'm just spending the shit tickets to get rid of Smite attacks. However, Brutal Impact 3 is also just straight up go through because I'm only defense 3. I like the Siegebreaker Behemoth. It's really good into high armor, and it's not a bad choice. It's got a lot better than it was before, and I'm happy that it's included in games nowadays. Then we got the High Clone Executor, Bionic Ivan Marksman variant. Get gun, disperse and overtax nervous system, so loose formation, and the Bastion draw event. Additional Neuroceptors is just long lineage, that's all it is. Unit of Vanguard closes Superior Creation, getting up to Clash 3. Just 3 stands of Marksman clones, as well as the High Clone Executor. They're going to be shooting 22 shots together. 6 of them are going to be Deadly Shot. This does a lot of work. It's a really super annoying unit. I'll be really honest about that one. We got the Pheromancer, or as I've been told, it's the Smellomancer, and it's Smellomancy. This guy's an Avatar Projections, because he's going to be going in the unit of Brute Drones, staying safe, giving out his smells to people. Unit of Strix and unit of Onslaught Drones. My opponent uses these Onslaught Drones as either scorers or defending the Marksman clones if people get a little cheeky and want to charge them and tie them up. You got Onslaughts who can get into the side, 5 attacks each with Line Breaker and Burnout. You can really ramp these guys up to do a ton of work to clear off whatever's gotten into the Marksman clones, unless it's something really impactful. But then they've obviously gone through your Incarnate Sentinels, and at that point you're probably not in the greatest spot. Strix, fantastic unit. Lethal Demise on a speed 10 regiment who just has a bunch of attacks, and if you're not careful, Strix will rip through people. And on top of that, if you do actually kill them, they will explode and kill you back. So they're a really mean, nasty regiment, but I do like them a lot. They're not super durable, Evasion 2's there, but they're still 4 wounds. They're not sticking around very often. And yeah, that's my opponent's list. Let me slow roll the rules for you, and you can pause the video anytime. Alright, let's go to the scenario. Today's scenario is melee. You have 2 6-inch zones that are 2 points, and you got 2 9-inch zones that are worth 3 points. If you are scoring 2 or more, you get an additional 2. You get 2 VPs for killing the enemy warlord, for 2 for every character, and 2 for every enemy regiment. Not a bad scenario to go for and play. I do like melee, mostly because if you actually just play the scenario elements, you can usually outscore your opponent on kills and just stay ahead, even if they table you or wipe out more. This is really, it kind of lies to you where you think it's a kill point scenario. It's not. You really want to lock down 2 of these scenario elements and push for a third, because if you get the 3, you're really in a good spot. I'm not drawing that, my god. Let's redraw that. God. Yeah. So you really look at to lock down these two, and if you capture a third one, you're in a better spot. God damn it. I might leave that in. But if you can keep your opponent off of one of these scenario elements while you're consistently scoring more than your opponent, like those 2 elements right there is 7 points a turn. That's basically more points than killing your opponent's warlord regiment, because you get 2 for the warlord, 2 for the character, 2 for the regiment, and you're getting 7 points off of that, so you can really just rack up points that way. A lot of times people aren't losing a ton of things each turn, like they usually lose a regiment or 2, so that's like 4 points, while just controlling those 2 scenario elements will just stack you points even more. If you do end up with 3, so you get all 3 of those, it's 4, 6 plus 3 is 9, like you're just in a really good spot. And in this scenario, I really just pick 2 of the zones and I just go for them and be like, these are mine, please go away now. And that's kind of what happens here. In other games, I've like gone wide and I've captured more or less. Like you really want to lock down 2 of these for sure and really push for a third one, because at that point you're going to be in a really commanding spot. Let's go to the table. Here's the table we're playing on today. You can see our scenario elements with the red zones. We got some size 2 forests with obscuring and hindering here. We then have some broken ground over here. Then we got some size 3 houses right here. Got some water and some elevation. There we go. Not a bad table overall. At Adepticon, the terrain was like super big, while the terrain we have here is much smaller. I don't mind that. It's still in relative spots. Like this forest right here came up. I had to take broken ground rolls for that. This elevation thing came up. This forest came up. You'll see in a bit why these 4 elements were a lot. This house comes up, yeah, splits the table, as well as this one. Like, these were probably the 6 factoring terrain pieces, and they each did their job in a way of how we set up and deployed and counter-deployed each other and tried to get around them. So, this terrain was kind of like, you know, in the middle on zones, affecting stuff. Like, people had to interact with it, and that's kind of how I like to see terrain, is it forces us to interact with stuff. I see a lot of players just throw terrain out like over here or like over here, and it's like, okay, you kind of mess with the deployment, but in the middle of the table it's not a ton of stuff, so like, what's going on? That's about it. Let's go turn 1. Here's turn 1. I get both my Argent Killuas and my Flame Berserkers on the table. I'm running them up. I'm immediately going for this zone and this zone. I cast one, like I get 1 success out of my 2 spells from each of my casters and gain a shit ticket. My opponent deploys Strix. It's all, I think this is only light. He's kind of counter-deploying me. I believe he won the roll-off, and he was just like, oh, I'm going to go here and wait. And I was kind of looking at it, and I'm like, well, I'm playing a faction that wants the castle. I'm really looking at the table, and I kind of want to just, use black, take over this, lock that down, and then push out to this one, and if I can keep my opponent off that one, I'll be in a really good spot. Having both my regiments be able to just quickly get up there turn 1 and then score turn 2 is going to put me in a really good spot, because next turn my opponent's coming on the table. I'm going to be scoring 2 zones. They're not going to be scoring 2 zones. That's going to put me ahead and force them to fight me, because I'm going to just be having more points than them, and they'll have to come to me. Even if they lock down both these zones and tie me up on scoring, and we kind of like trade regiments back and forth, because I got that turn early of scoring, I'm in a really commanding spot. And that's really turn 1. Let's go look at turn 2. Here's turn 2. I get my Hellbringer Drake with the Warlord over here, and I get my other Hellbringer Drake. Still gotta build that guy. I got a unit of Fireforged, and then here's my Bliste. So, doing well there. I get a bunch of rolls and cards. My opponent only gets 2 mediums. You can see back there is 2 Avatara. With that, He doesn't really want to lose his Strix right away, so one of his first moves is he just backs up the Strix. He just marches 10 back with his 2 march actions. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I start off by just casting stuff. I cast the scoring spell. It's Rancor. I'm just going to call it the scoring spell. And I get both my Flame Berserkers into the zones to start scoring. This one right here that I just circled, I'm using it to keep my opponent out. Hellbringer Drake is, I believe, an inch away from scoring it. But he's going to go in that zone after, and the Flame Berserkers are just going to get into a better spot. The Flame Berserkers over here, they're just towing that zone. I didn't really need to like shoot up forward. I can keep everything else safe. With Dweghom, you really got to get your deployment down right. These Fireforge should have been over more. I got 2 Avatar over there. I'm going to be like shooting over the Flame Berserkers. Hellbringer Drake could be over here a little more so he can tow the zone. So there's a little bit of stuff like that that I should have been looking for, and I wasn't. But, you know, new faction, new army, new list, like, working out all the bugs. And these are, like, little things I'm already noticing where I can improve my play. With that, I score 2, 5, 7 points. My opponent gets nothing. They just kind of run their Avatar up here on the side, trying, I guess, like, to force me out. But at this point, I'm going to be in a strong spot where I could probably kill off those 3 units committed, and then I can start swinging the rest of my army either this way, on this side of the house, or around on this side of the house and kind of push through. And I just need to hold between these 2 houses, and I'll be in a really good spot. Let's go to turn 3 and see what my opponent does. Alright, here's turn 3. So, interesting things that happen is that my opponent gets a ton of their stuff onto the table. They get their Ferromancer with Brute Drones, Mark Stones with High Clone, get the Incarnate Sentinels with the Lineage Highborn, Onslaught Drones. So there's a ton of stuff coming at me, and I gotta get ready for it. So one of the first things I do is I get the Flame Berserkers off the point and kind of in front. They get hit by Marksman clones. They just kind of march and shoot. I lose a stand, not the end of the world. I start running up my Ballistae to help support that front, because I'm really looking at just unloading into the Incarnate Sentinels. There's a couple turns here where I like start dropping spells and I either fail the roll or stuff is just out of range to hit with the Pyroclast, so I'm kind of like looking to get some damage done. I just kind of march up and shoot with my Hellbringer Drake into the Incarnates. I don't think I do a whole bunch of wounds. Knowing that this middle part is going to get hit really hard, I move up my Fireforge with a proxy by these Militia Bowmen up the table, and kind of starting to look to set up to kill these Incarnate Sentinels. One of the nice things about Dweghom fighting Spires is what I've discovered is that a lot of their regiments are brutes or bigger. So everything's like size 2 or 3 in a lot of lists, and so it makes it really easy for your shooting to just point up and just shoot at them. What I like, because it's mostly just a gun faction. Hellbringer Drake scoring the zone. Sweet. The other Hellbringer Drake, as I said, should have been moved over a bit so that they could have been in the zone here. Would have been really good. There's this gap right here what's going to hurt me in the future, so just watch out for that one. Hellbringer Drake, what does my opponent do? My opponent runs up some Avatara just like straight up the table, but they're an inch out of the zone, and I have to roll a 3 to get onto them, so I just roll the 3 the Flame Berserkers, rip through them for a bunch of damage. Avatara, no, they don't clap back. I don't know, there's some wounds on them. I forget what really happens to them. I think the Avatar might have even charged them, but they kind of die. Hellbringer Drake, Fireforge, just kind of walk up and shoot at them, kill them. My opponent then just runs his Strix up to kind of hold me off, as you can see. I'm not super worried. I can like shoot at Strix from the Hellbringer Drake, but I kind of want to bring this Hellbringer Drake around and shoot at the Incarnate Sentinels later, because they're going to be hitting that Flame Berserker wall, and that's going to be the real battle there, is how fast can I kill Incarnates. Because once I get through Incarnates, and if I have enough stuff alive still, I can kind of just like keep going to score. I'm not sure if these onslaughts were on last turn. I don't think they were. But my opponent is really missing out on scoring right now. and probably should have made a better play for that scoring, even with the Avatara. There was talks about running Avatar into the zone and then like around to the back, and that would have hurt, because now I have to spin regiments. So that probably would have been a better play, but my opponent's really like fighting me, and that's kind of what I want, because I'm still scoring both zones. The Argent Killua over here casts a score spell, and I score this zone, score the one with the Hellbringer Drake, get to 7. And turn 4 is we're going to really see the lines clash. So let's go to turn 4. Here's turn 4. My opponent's Incarnate Sentinels, he gets the drop, he charges me, does a bunch of damage, I use a bunch of tokens to reduce. I then use Pyroclast, like Erupting Ground. I believe I even cast Eruption on this forest from my Hellbringer Drake, and that then from Erupting, I get Pyroclast into the side. Ballistas, shoot into them. Fireforge, walk up and shoot into them. Both Drakes, shoot into them. And I get them down to 3. I think the last guy has like 2 wounds on him as well. I build up a bunch more tokens. My opponent uses their Pheromantic Overdrive and then clashes and finishes off the Flame Berserkers before they get to activate. Would have been really tough. Probably would have died to Aura of Death 4 off these 3 models. Might have lived and then done some more damage and kept them contained, but my opponent really wanted that away. Over on the left side, Flame Berserkers just rip through the Strix, cast the score spell, sit there, and then my Fireforge kind of move over, getting ready to deal with what's coming next, because my opponent is failed charges, I believe, like twice with these Avatara. And then, as you can see, the Danger Strip is behind. Danger Strip's looking to get into my Hellbringer Drake, and this is where I probably should have started looking for, I don't know, maybe, like, should have maybe clashed and then use my second march to, like, move 3 inches that way to try and close it. A little tough. Ferromancer, trying to Ferromance and, like, support these various regiments around him. I'll just draw a circle around him. Not too much. I believe these Marksman clones over here just shoot into my Flame Berserkers, whatever. This is a misplay. So my opponent just kind of walks up outside of 18 inches from my Cold Ballistae. And because they're afraid of getting shot, but it's like, I have Incarnates in my way, I need to deal with them. You're not scoring anything, so like right now I'm getting another 7 points. I'm at like 21 at this point, and my opponent scored 0. We're trading regiments back and forth, so like I'm just in the lead, and you kind of hit a point where your opponent can't catch up even if they table you. And that point is starting to come. They do make this play over here where they run the Vanguard clones 18 inches up the table. This is really good. Probably should have happened sooner, because they really need to start scoring, because I'm just outpacing them by a ton. Let's go to turn 5 and see if I can kill these Incarnate Sentinels, or if these Incarnate Sentinels are going to kill my Hellbringer Drake. Here we go. Incarnate Sentinels cannot kill a Hellbringer Drake. So, stuff went on. I believe I got to activate first. I tried to drop a hindering terrain right in front of my Hellbringer Drake. Failed the roll. Went, ooh, that really sucks. Pyroclasted anyway because they're within 8 inches of me. Into the Incarnates, killed another Incarnate. Incarnates charge me. They roll pretty bad. I go up to like, I don't know, 8 wounds out of my 14, 9 wounds out of my 14. And then I just shit ticket off of any of their like Cleave 2 attacks and their Cleave 1 attack and all that stuff, so I'm kind of fine. Hellbringer Drake bites Incarnates to death, Fireforge, shoot Incarnates to death, hold Ballistae, I think at that point they're dead. Just take some shots and shoot into the Onslaught drones, because why not? My opponent's making some good moves here, finally getting Onslaughts, you know, he's now threatening more of my stuff. These guys should have just been up more, they could have gone to Ballistae's a turn earlier. Vanguard clones over here, their job's done, they're going to score this zone for the entirety of the game. Onslaught's doing good, they're scoring. However, I am still scoring my 2 zones. On the right where my Flame Berserkers are, my opponent finally gets the Avatara into my Flame Berserkers, does a bunch of damage, Flame Berserkers attack back, kill a bunch of them. This Hellbringer Drake, I believe, shoots at the Danger Shrimp, does a couple wounds, nothing too crazy, and then my Fire Forge shooting into the Avatar, killing them. However, my opponent with the Danger Shrimp, it has a clear target to just charge right into my Hellbringer Drake because I don't have my Flame Berserkers over more. Probably could have looked into trying getting them over more earlier, or done something else to kind of close that gap, because Danger Shrimp going into Flame Berserkers would have been better for me, because like keeping those Drakes around as long as possible. But this Danger Shrimp is in a really bad spot if it goes for the Hellbringer Drake, because it's got the Drake. I got shit tickets to ward off the Smite. I have evasion stat to ward off the Smite. Flame Berserkers and Fireforge are there to just unload into it. And as you can see, this is the last thing my opponent is kind of committing to that side. The Brute Drones and the Ferromancer right here, they're going to be heading towards my Hellbringer Drake. Redo that. Because the Incarnates are dead and that Hellbringer Drake has just been sitting there just blowing stuff up. It's also my Warlord, so he really wants that gone. Marksman clones have been just unloading into the Hellbringer Drake, but I've just been making saves. My opponent has been rolling very well there. So overall, still doing good. Still scoring another 7 points, and now my opponent is scoring. However, if I can get rid of the Danger Shrimp and keep enough things alive, I'm in a really good spot. If I can kill the Brutes, I'm in a really good spot. And if I kill the Onslaught Drones, I'm in a really good spot. So the things I need to kill are these 3 regiments. Once they're dead, I'm just going to be in a really good spot. Even if the Marksman clones are shooting at me for the rest of the game, I don't care at that point, because I'm just so far ahead that he won't catch up. So let's go to turn, I think it's 6. Here's turn 6. So things that do good. My opponent gets his Brute and Ferromancer into my Hellbringer Drake, so I'm just going to draw them there. I win the roll-off. As you can see, I actually got the hindering terrain off. I'll just circle it in purple. So they got no impacts. They decided to march charge me because I was far enough away. Pyroclast them. I think I kill off one before they get there. Then they get in there, and then, I'm just like, Hellbringer Drake is eating them. Fireforge is shooting at them. As you can see, the Onslaught Drones are into the Ballistas. They decide to burn out, rip through the Ballistas. I think they have like 3 health left. I really don't care. But they decay a bit. However, I take my opponent's Ferromancer, and he takes my Drake. Marksman clone shooting to the Drake, finishing it off. It had like 2 health left or something, so yeah. Overall, pretty good on that front. I'm still holding on, doing well. On the left side, opponent gets the Danger Shrimp into my Hellbringer Drake. I use a bunch of tickets, try and live through all that. Hellbringer Drake's taking a beating, but I'm like, fighting, using its attacks back. Flame Berserkers just do a reform and charge into its back for next turn. Fireforge, basically just do a reform and shoot into its side. We're already stacking up damage. I think it's taken like 9 out of its 16 or 10 out of its 16 at this point. So next turn it's going down. I just need to hold on long enough that try and keep that Hellbringer Drake alive, because if I have that thing around, it's really going to push me to just to close out this game. There's really going to be no ambiguity about it. My opponent scores 3 points over here. This over on the left is contested. I didn't get the score spell off, and so it's 3 stands to 3 stands. No one scores. That's really turn 6. It's kind of, figuring out who's gonna close this off. So let's go to turn 7. Here's turn 7. Hellbringer Drake, no, it dies. My Flame Berserkers and Fireforge go into the side and the butt of the Danger Shrimp. It lives on 1 wound, so next turn it's gonna die. If it activates first, it's gonna take a bunch of Aura of Death. If I activate first, I'm just going to shoot it in the face. Over on this side, Onslaught Drones get shot up by a Fireforge and die. Then my opponent shoots his Marksman clones into my Ballistae, killing them. I do get my score spell off, so I have 5 scoring stands to his 3. So I score there, and my opponent scores here, so we both get 3. And now we're just kind of wrapping up the game. So Danger Strip's on 1 life. probably going to die. And I'm really looking to get this Fireforge unit into the zone to like score 7 each turn and just kind of close it out. I'm not going to bother going for the Marksman clones. His Vanguard clones are never going to leave that. So let's just get through the next couple turns. I believe this is 7 or 8. Doesn't really matter. As you can see, Fireforge walked over, got shot, lost the stand. Gone to the zone, score it. Sweet. Over here, Danger Shrimp dead. Score it. Sweet. Next turn. Oh, he also scores this. Okay, so this is 9. I move over a bit more, getting both my stands in. My opponent shoots me, breaks me. Okay. And then over on here, I just sit. Like, we're just both sitting, scoring 3. And let's go to the last turn. Over here, I rally. My opponent's been like walking up and shooting because he's looking to score both of these for 7 and get some more points. He rolls really bad for his shooting, and because Fireforge are defense 4 with a shield, well, it's defense 3 plus 1 from the shield, but you know, it's 4 with the shield. I live. I actually make all the saves for this last shot, and I just rally and I just sit there. So I score another 7, and that's the game. So let's go check out the score. Here's the score. Before we add up additional points, ends on turn 10, and I got 45 points just through scoring, and my opponent got 26. I think I wrote this down somewhere. My opponent ended up with after kill points with like 42, and I ended up with about 65 or something around there after everything was said and done when we added up all our kills. So overall, a really good game. I'm pretty sure I've learned from my previous lessons of Dweghom on like how to castle. I showed this off to some of the other Conquest players, like just the pictures beforehand, like before recording this, and they were like, oh, my opponent played into my strong side on the left. Yes, they did. They should have started moving stuff around to the weaker side on the right, forcing me to twist and deal with too many things. I probably should have deployed some more stuff. Not like deployed, but just kind of shimmy some things over to the right more. However, because my opponent was deploying stuff on the right side, I kind of like deployed enough to counter it and win that zone. While in the middle there, I kind of just deployed enough to hold off while having enough work to kill anything that came in. Marksman clones, because Dweghom has nothing like super fast to get into them, I was never going to be looking to kill them. They also had loose formation, so shooting into them and putting magic into them is half shots. It's not a really good idea to kind of get for them. It was better for me to work on the Incarnate Sentinels, the Danger Shrimp, and the Brutes, as well as the Avatara. Like, killing all that would just put me in a better spot, and I could just like weather the shooting as I did those last couple turns to kind of score my opponent out some more. And I believe that was the correct choice. Like, my opponent's list, they have 3 main work regiments. It's the Marksman clones, the Incarnate Sentinels, and the Siegebreaker. Killing 2 of them was really good for me, and kind of the just high defense of Dweghom to mitigate the Marksman clones was also really good, because I was just never going to get there. My opponent kind of threw away a unit of Avatara at one point that I just gobbled up, and then they threw some Strix at me to kind of hold me back. Probably didn't need to do that. They probably could have waited some more to get the other, like, to come at me with Avatara and the Strix at the same time. Yeah, because that left side, they kind of just like sent one thing at a time, and I just ate it. And it was like, okay, I'll wait for the next one. Like, I'm still in a really good spot. And another one of the things they could have done was just looked at scenario really early on. The first thing I did was look at scenario and was like, how am I going to score immediately? Because that's what I want to do. And I want to get that point lead so that I can carry it through the entirety of the game. Because once Dweghom get there, it's really hard to dislodge them, as you saw. Like, we were trading regiments, but I was in control of my side of the table the entire time as my opponent just fed stuff into me. So, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Just want to plug that BonkTable as a Discord. We have a podcast as well. You'll find all that in the link in the description below. Cassandra, my co-host, has Twitter, so you can join her and send her Conquest stuff or see if she's gonna paint anything. No idea if she does. What else is there? Oh, the Adepticon video is out by now, so if you didn't know, I went to Adepticon. I placed 8th with a horse list from 100k. I had a great time, so if you want to know about my games for there, it's available for you to watch. Hope you guys all have a great day. Bye!